Hi guys, welcome to this match preview for this Tuesday night's game at the Kassam Stadium. It's Oxford United versus Doncaster Rovers. Let's get the video started. So guys, welcome to this match preview, Oxford United versus Doncaster Rovers at the Kassam Stadium this Tuesday night. If you're an existing subscriber, welcome back. Thank you for returning to the channel. If this video has brought you here, welcome to my channel. Please click that subscribe button so you don't miss any future content. And if you are new to this is the format that we do match previews in. We look at the previous meetings between the two clubs, current form across all competitions. I choose a Doncaster Rovers player to focus on, say a few words about that individual. We take a brief look at the opponent's history, in this case Oxford United, and I give my opinion on the one to watch for you guys. And then me and the family have got Predictions League, so there's an update on that table at the very end, just before I give my score prediction for the upcoming fixture. So on to previous meetings. Oxford and Donny have faced off 21 times in our history. Donny coming out on top on 6 occasions, Oxford coming out on top on 9, and we've shared the spoils on 6. So Oxford just edging it over our history. But if we look back at the last 5 meetings, Donny coming out on top slightly. Going back to 2018-19 season in League One, we both shared the spoils. Exactly the same results, 2-2 draws at home and away. And then in the 19-20 season, we managed to see each other twice before the season got curtailed. It was a 3-0 away win. It was a 3-0 away defeat for the Rovers, sorry. But then we turned it around with a 1-0 home win. And then earlier this season, we put a stop to Oxford's unreal run of results with a 3-2 win at the Keepmoat Stadium, and what a game that was. So hopefully we get entertained with something similar on Tuesday night. Moving on to current form. It's not so good for the Rovers. It's not too bad, but we have hit a blip over the last month or so. In our last 5 games sees us with 2 wins, 2 defeats and 1 draw. Oxford, on the other hand, 3 draws, 1 win and 1 defeat, which came to Hull on Saturday. But Oxford, they had a tough start to the season, and they've been playing catch-up pretty much ever since. But they now sit 9th, 4 points away from the top 6, so definitely a team to keep an eye out. There's always one team at the end who get a decent run of form, winding the sails, going into the playoffs and potentially going up. And I believe Oxford could be that team. There's 1 or 2 teams in and around them that could be fighting for those top 6 places as well. But from a Rovers point of view, we've just got to keep on getting the results to remain in those top 6, potentially pushing to the top 2, which may be out of our reach now. But Oxford, 9th, 4 points away from the top 6, so they'll be looking to get 3 points on Tuesday night against a team above them to close that gap. Oxford, they've been on a stunning run of results in the league since December time, where they've only tasted defeat on 3 separate occasions in 20 games. That is a ridiculous stat. The defeats coming against Doncaster Rovers, Portsmouth, and on Saturday against Hull. In those 20 games, they've won 10 of them and drawn 7, and that has just pulled them so far up the table and in contention for a top 6 place. But as I say, the 3 defeats came against Donny, Portsmouth and Hull. All of those teams were in the top 6 at the time, so potentially that's a good omen for the Rovers on Tuesday night. Oxford can do the business, but can they do the business against teams in the top 6? We will see. Moving on to the Rovers, a draw on Saturday against struggling Northampton Town. It's not settled some Rovers fans' nerves coming into the final stretch of the season. I can understand the frustrations that have been put out on social media since Saturday's result. But for me, I thought Northampton settled really well. They were very resolute defensively. I thought they set up with a couple of banks of 4. Well, a bank of 4 at the back, 5 in midfield. They didn't really have any sort of attacking threat, and it was like the set-up to get a 0-0, potentially grab something from a set piece or a counter attack. They did look quite dangerous on the counter, but I thought we looked pretty good defensively as well. Just lacked any sort of cutting edge or any sharpness in the final third. And we just struggled to break Northampton down throughout the 90 minutes, and it led to a very boring 0-0. And it's one of those where it will quickly disappear out of memory. It'll not be one to look back on and think that was a great game to watch, because it really wasn't. Yeah, tough 90 minutes to watch. But I felt the whole of the squad were trying to force it from a Donny point of view, trying to force passes through the Northampton defence, and it was summed up with Gomez's pass at the very end. I think he expected somebody making that run down the right hand side, and he's just overhit it, and the game just fizzled out. And it made a few of those passes, but it wasn't the only one. There were a few players who were trying to force passes through the Northampton defence and try and find those runners in behind. I think if we'd have just moved the ball a little bit quicker, tried to pull Northampton from side to side, we might have had some joy. But yeah, the injuries still mounting up in key positions. Robertson walked off halfway through the first half, so waiting on news on him. But yeah, it's not looking too positive coming into the final stretch. Hopefully injuries start coming back in those key positions. Taylor's obviously out for the season, but it'd be nice to see Sims coming back in. Bogle, Bostock. Had Bostock been on the pitch on Saturday, it may have been a different story. But it is what it is. It's a point in the right direction, and hopefully we can build on that on Tuesday night and get at least a point, if not 3, against Oxford. Moving on to player focus, I am choosing Matthew Smith to talk about today on the Rovers perspective. On loan from Manchester City, and I think he's settled into the squad and into that holding midfielder role very, very well. And I think he's come on leaps and bounds since Ben Whiteman's left. I think he's stepped up to the mark. He shows his ability week in, week out. Not afraid to get into a tackle. I do like to see him sliding about and winning the ball. Passing range is very, very good. And when he's on his game, with Bostock next to him, even Robertson next to him, Reece James next to him, he can dictate the pace of the play. He can find a pass. Some of the passes that he's done this season are ridiculous. I remember the one where he's come down, half volley, and he's just pinged it, crossfield ball, and we're on the attack. And that's what he's got in his locker. He can switch the game from defence to attack in one key pass. And I think if he's on his game and players in front of him and behind him up to the level that he's playing at on the day, we can beat any team in this league. But Saturday, it was just one of those where we just couldn't break them down. And I think Matt had chances to find those key passes, but the movement wasn't there. But yeah, great addition this season, Matt Smith from Manchester City, and it looks like he's got bags of potential, bags of ability, one to watch for the future in my opinion. Moving on to the opponent, Oxford United, founded in 1893, currently managed by Carl Robinson. I like Carl as a manager. He is a bit of a Marmite manager, you either love him or hate him. Generally plays a 4-3-3 formation, he can switch it up. We've seen him play 4-5-1 over recent games as well. Currently got around a 41% win record at Oxford, so nothing to be sniffed at. He clearly knows his squad. He's built a very good squad and a competitive squad at Oxford, and he's starting to get the best out of them, which is why they're so far up the table after a tough start. I'm glad he got the opportunity to stay on, and he wasn't axed very quickly, because they were in a position where he could have been, and the trust that Oxford board has put in him is starting to repay that now, and I do believe that they'll be top 6 contenders come the end of the season, and part of that is because of Carl as their manager and pulling the strings with the team and the tactics. Looking at some honours for Oxford, League Cup winners back in 1985-86. I wasn't born then, but I'm sure some people watching will have been. So fantastic achievement for Oxford, their League Cup winners. But more recently, conference playoff winners in 2009-10 season, and then they came League 2 runners-up in 2015-16 and have not been out of League 1 since. On to the one to watch for me for Oxford on Tuesday night is their top scorer, Matty Taylor. He's not been scoring too many over recent games. I believe over the last 5 or 6 he hasn't found the score sheet, but he has scored 11 goals this season, set 1 or 2 up as well. So I think if he's playing, he's definitely one to watch, because he'll be chomping at the bit to get back on the score sheet and try and get that purple patch of form again that he had earlier in the season and start bagging goals once again. There's other players in and around the midfield that we need to snuff out before they get that chance to create any sort of chances. But for me, Matty Taylor is the one to watch for Oxford on Tuesday night. As I've said in previous previews, I don't know your club as much as you do, so please, Oxford fans, if you're watching, in the comments down below, let us know who we should be watching out for and your thoughts on the game as well. And moving on to the Predictions League table, so if you are new to this, me and the family predict the scoreline for every single league game. I'm starting to put them on Twitter. If you haven't followed me on there, please do. Link is in the description down below. But Saturday, everybody was positive. I went with my head and not my heart. If I was positive, I'd have gone with a Rovers win as well. I went with a 1-1 draw. Dad, Chris and Max all went with Rovers wins, which means, because it was a 0-0, I only get 1 point. So, correct scoreline gets us 3 points, correct outcome but not result gets us 1, totally incorrect gets us no points, and the table now is extremely tight. Joint top, Max and Dad on 20 points, and we'll go with joint second, because I'm no longer bottom. That's what I'm going for. Is me and Chris on 19 points, so plenty of games left in the season, plenty of twists and turns in this table as well as the League One table, so keep tuned to Twitter and these previews to see who wins the coveted trophy at the end of the season. And that takes me on to my score prediction. I think it's going to be a very, very tough evening for the Rovers. Injury list piling up, the attacking threat just wasn't there on Saturday. I think Oxford will be pushing very, very hard to get the 3 points and close that gap towards top 6. And I hate to say it, but I think they're going to be too strong for us on the night, and I'm going with a 2-0 away defeat. I hope I'm miles off with this. I'd take a point now, but I would love to bring the 3 points home. I just think Oxford will end up turning us over on the night, unfortunately. Please be wrong. And that's where I'm going to leave this video. If you've enjoyed it, big thumbs up for us, please. Comments in the section down below. If you haven't already, please click that subscribe button. As always, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.